All right, Chagiga Daf Yud test. So we first start off by talking about a concept in the Mishnah that you need to, you have to dip in the mikveh. Sorry, you need kavana for netilas yadayim. So first we want to understand is, what does that mean? You have to have kavana. You have to have intent when you wash your hands. It seems that we have one brisa that says that you do need to have intent when you wash your hands, and we have another brisa that says you don't. What we end up saying is when it comes to eating chulin, you don't need to have kavana, but when it comes to ma'aser sheni, that's when you do need to really focus on your thoughts, on what you're doing. That kind of leads into the second, we have a din by that Rabbi Eliezer says this idea of an ambiguous mikvah, which means if you dip in a mikvah, which is, remember, the highest level of like making yourself tahor. So if you dip in a mikvah but you had no intention, so Rabbi Eliezer says you have the option pretty much to choose whichever you want. Like you can decide if you want to be tamei for, I don't understand why you don't just want to go for the highest level, which will allow you to do the lower ones, but he says that it gives you the choice. And the question is, what about raglo achas b'mayim? Like, let's say you're on your way out, you still have 1 foot still in the water, so the Gemara says at that point you can really choose and you can do anything. And then we say, I don't understand. I thought you said that implies that if you were to fully remove yourself, then you are unable to. But I thought you said that's in the Mishnah that even if you came out of the water, you could. So what we end up saying is, no, if you had no intention at all, then you can come out of the mikveh and decide what you want. If you had intention while you had a foot in the water, you can change it, because it's like playing chess, until you let go of the piece, you can still decide what you want. Once you let go of the piece, then whatever you decided sticks, and if you didn't decide anything, then you can choose which one you want. That's what he ends up saying. Then I want to know, so who's the Tana in this Mishnah that lays the foundation for this kind of idea? We say it's Rabbi Yehuda, because there's an interesting Mishnah that's taught elsewhere, making mikvos, that if you, let's say there's a mikvah that has exactly 40 sa of water, one person dips in the mikvah, and then someone else dips right behind him. So the Mishnah first says that the first guy is Torah, the second guy is not. Why? Because when you come out of the mikvah, you take a little bit of the water with you, and for the second guy, it's no longer 40 sa. But Rabbi Yehuda says is if the first guy is still touching the water somehow, then we apply the concept of good achis, which means the water, it pretty much extends the water that's on the person's body into the mikveh, so it's all one continuous body of water, and so it's still allowed. So that's how we know that Rabbi Yehuda is the one who says that as long as you still have a foot in the water, you can decide what you want to be tahor for. So then we ask, do we also say good asik? Like, do we say the opposite, where you can kind of extend the water above? And the example I think he gave is dipping in the mikveh with something on your head, like tuning forks or like needles for very thin items. We end up saying no, he really only holds that you can do good achis. You can extend downwards, but it doesn't work to extend it upwards. So lastly, we end off the daf. It's a pretty quick daf, but we talk about the Mishnah said that you can dip for chulin. If you dip for chulin, it's no good for ma'aser sheni, right? So we ask who is in accordance with that chulin and ma'aser sheni are 2 different levels. So that's what the Rabbanan believe, that they're 2 separate things. But then I understand, because later on in the Mishnah, when it talks about the tamei nidras aspect, that that each level is considered tamei nidras for the level before it. So, and if you see yesterday's recap for more information on that. So it doesn't make sense, because chulin and ma'aser sheni are combined in that scenario. There are only 4 levels, not 5. So what you're telling me is the first part of the Mishnah is according to the Rabbanan, the second half is according to Meir. So either you could say, yeah, that is just the reality, that the Mishnah is 2 different authors, or I think Rabbi Acha bar Ada, when he would teach the Mishnah, he would actually teach 5 levels, both with the dipping and also for the tamei nidras, and not just 4 levels like the Mishnah that we learned. And that's Chagiga Daf Yud test. Have a great day.